Hey guys, so I'm here today to film a 4 looks 1 palette video with the Rawbeautykristi X Pure Cosmetics palette. I got my palette from Shoppers Drug Mart here in Canada. It's $44, I believe, Canadian, and I ordered it online and used my Shoppers points, so like technically it was free and you can't beat that. And with Shoppers Canada, you get free shipping over $50, so I just added like something else to my cart to get free shipping. So if you haven't seen the glory that is this palette, there is one neutral side and there is one bright side. And so normally I would do a 3 looks 1 palette video, but because there's 2 different sides, it just felt right to do 2 looks on each side. So I decided to do a 4 look 1 palette video. I was originally going to film a first impressions, and I did, and I used Garden State Tribute and the darker blue Hurtful, and I truly just didn't like the look that it came out with. And then I was like, first impressions are pointless because this palette's been out for a bit and there's so many first impressions out there, so I decided to do a 4 look 1 palette video and kind of scrap that video. So yeah, I will show you guys the 4 looks. It'll be mostly voiceover, just because it will be too long. It would have been too long if I talked through it, so mostly voiceover through while I'm putting on the eyeshadow, and then I'll finish the face off camera and come back. And then at the end, I will kind of go over what I think about the palette overall. I know it's limited edition right now and like they're not going to carry it again, but we've heard that before. So before I get into the looks, subscribe to my channel. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. I'll also, in this, you'll see in a couple of the clips I have purple hair, and then some of them I don't. It's because I actually stripped the color out of my hair without bleach in the middle of filming these. So if you want to see that video, I will link it down below because that should be up before this. So yeah, let's get into the looks. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the shade Garden State and start packing that on with a crease brush, and then I'm going to blend it out. I find with these shades it's easiest to kind of pack and then blend to get more pigment. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the inner corner of the eye because I'm trying to do kind of a halo style eye. I won't be cutting it with concealer because like that's just not my vibe and I hate doing it, but I kind of get the same effect without it. So I'm just kind of going back and forth between those with that shade in the inner corner and outer corner to deepen it up. And then I'm adding Hurtful on top of that, the kind of deeper teal blue shade, just to add a little bit of more drama. You know, we wanted this to be vampy or funky or something. So I'm just using the same brush that I originally used to add that. Then I'm going in with a flat shader brush to add a little bit more of Garden State, because I feel like I lost some of that green when I was blending the blue in, so I'm just adding a little bit back. And then I'm going back with that first brush and I'm blending it all together. I don't mind if the shades touch at the top because it's not a big deal. And then I'm just taking a brush with nothing on it to just blend out the edges. And then lastly, I'm taking Cafe Disco and I am just putting that directly in the center of my lid. I like to drag it above my crease because I do have hooded eyelids, and so I just feel like this makes it look more dramatic. And then I'm just kind of blending it out a little bit with a blending brush. So this is our first look. The rest of my face, I'm wearing MAC Face and Body on my face. Bronzer is Milk Makeup Cream Bronzer plus the Marc Jacobs Tantastic bronzer over top. I've got Urban Decay's Video Blush as my blush. Highlight, I put down ColourPop Flexitarian, and then I layered Fenty Beauty Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal over top because I wanted a pinky blush. I put on liquid liner. I used the Fenty Beauty liquid liner. It's my current favorite. And for lips, I mixed together Bite Beauty's Thistle and MAC's Love You Back. This just lightened it and added a little bit more pink to it, but I did want kind of like a cool toned lip to go with the cool toned eye. And then in my inner corner, I just put Cafe Disco there. Now you could mimic the top on the bottom lash line, but I personally just never like the way bottom lash line eyeshadow looks on me, so I'm skipping that step. I really like how Cafe Disco, I really like how Cafe Disco is a very transformative shade. Like in the pan, it looks pink, but because it has kind of the multi-colored glitter in it, I guess it almost has like a silver sheen to it. As the pop of color in the center of this look, it really does look like a seafoam green kind of color, so it really does work. For this look, I'm taking copper boxes and I'm blending that all over the outer corner of my lid and kind of into my crease. I want it to be a pretty diffused blend, and I also kind of want to really like darken the color as much as possible. So I'm just packing it on and then blending it out and blending it pretty far into my inner corner. This color is gorgeous. And then I'm just kind of evening out the two sides once I have it on. And again, adding a little bit more into my inner corner. To deepen that up, I'm adding B in the outer, kind of outer V almost, I guess. And I'm trying to kind of create a little bit of a smoky wing with it. And then I'm adding a little bit more of copper boxes just on the lid. And then I'm going back in with B to deepen that V and kind of directly in my crease. And then to complete this look, I'm using the shade Camelot on a flat shader brush just all over the lid, and then just kind of going back and forth with those original brushes to blend it. And then again with an empty shader brush, I am just kind of blending out the edges. I might even be using my whole heart, but I truly can't remember now, but just refining the blend. And then lastly, I'm taking You're Not My Real Dad on a angled liner brush and just kind of smudging that directly into my lash line, and then blending it slightly so that it kind of creates just a little bit of more definition, because I won't be putting liquid liner on, which is so unlike me. And then again, I'm going back in with copper boxes just to blend out those edges and make everything look as seamless as possible. And this is the finished look. I did run a little bit of that darkest brown under my lash line, but I just used whatever was left on the brush because I really don't like lash line color. For my face, I'm wearing a Cosmetics CC Cream Plus Illumination in the shade Fair. My concealer is NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Vanilla. My bronzer is the ColourPop bronzer in, there's no name on this because the shade is in here, so I will put it in the description. Blush is Urban Decay Video. I just feel like it's a nice kind of pinky brown blush. And then my highlight is Fenty Beauty Sandcastle, so like the brown color in the Sandcastle and Minted Mojito duo. I just really, honestly, if you're fair, don't be afraid of that color. I think it was limited edition, but it definitely is just more of like a wet look than a color. And for lips, I just put on MAC Chestnut Lip Liner, and my lipstick is MAC's Antique Velvet, which is just the most perfect brown color. This is a matte, but it's not one of those really drying matte. It's definitely more of a creamy matte. And I am just like feeling the very like brown vibes. For the next bright look, I decided to play with Flavor Town. So I'm packing that on the outer corner and into my crease. And again, I'm doing the packing and then blending motion for the best results. I did find that the red was a little bit pinky red, and so I wanted it to be more orange. So I'm taking the shade Am I Orange now and adding that directly on top, and then also kind of blending out the edges with it because I wanted to be able to see the lighter orange kind of at the edges of my blend. So I added that at the top there. And then once I had the perfect blend, I mixed together Tribute and Lumos and made the most flawless purple in my entire life. I literally just tapped into both colors and then put it on my lid. As you can see here, it's a different color on the other eyelid when I tapped into them. So I just took some more of the white color and just packed it on top to make them look a little bit more even. And I just think this color is beautiful. And I love the way the purple and the red and the orange kind of play together in a way that I normally wouldn't use them. And then I'm just kind of touching up the blend here. And this is the finished look. I think my ring light is washing me out a little bit today because my curtains are closed and it's gloomy out, but I'm obsessed. For my face, I kind of wanted to go a little bit more full coverage, so I'm wearing the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I'm in the shade 150. I have on my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Light. For contour, I'm just wearing the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. I'm in fair medium. Blush, I layered on MAC's Blush All Day, which is like a brownie pink color, and then I put MAC's Skin Finish in Stereo Rose over top, so you can see that kind of like sheen on my cheek. And then for highlight, it just felt right to use Moonchild from Anastasia. I mixed together Purple Horseshoe and Pink Heart. So that's where you get this beautiful kind of pinky purple highlight. And for my inner corner, I just mixed together Am I Orange, Dandelion, and what's this color called? Lumos. So I kind of wanted like a yellowy orange inner corner highlight. I'm not sure if I love it. I thought about doing like a baby pink instead, but I went with orange to kind of go with the look. Not sure how I feel about it, but it is what it is. And then lastly, lips are MAC's Whirl. I just wanted something that was neutral, but not like a nude, because I put on a couple nudes and I just felt like it was washing me out completely. So this is where we are. I love this, and this is why I do like that she put a white in this palette, because you can see this purple is so gorgeous, and it's not in the palette. I just mixed together, really with the white you can make so many variations of these other brights so that it can kind of be like a pastel goth palette as well as a super bright summery palette, and I live for it. For the last look, I'm keeping it very simple, but this is kind of my go-to look. I'm taking the shade Moo Point on a small blending brush and just kind of really diffusing that into my outer corner and into my crease. I want it to be super blown out and blended. And I wanted to use this color because I really do love the way that it looks on the eye. It definitely looks a lot more mauve and purple in the pan than it comes off on the eye. It definitely is more wearable on the eye than I thought it would be. So I'm just kind of blending that and building it up because I do want it to be as dark as possible for the shade that I have. So it's just a lot of kind of going back and forth between the two sides and making sure that it looks even and, you know, dark enough, because I wanted it to be a little bit extra, you know? And then for the lid, I'm taking Cafe Disco because truly it's my favorite shade in this palette. I absolutely love a pinky lid shade, and it just goes so perfect with this. And then I'm just adding a little bit of You're Not My Real Dad in the outer crease so it could be slightly vampy. Okay, and here is the finished look. This one is definitely more of like your subtle look, but like personally this is like my go-to everyday just trying around with the house look. I'm not a big... I find like the dark browns on this side personally for me are a little bit too warm toned. Like this one works, but if I want to deepen it, like... I don't know, it's just not like the grungy kind of look, not really my everyday look, but like the mauve is so beautiful and definitely a lot more pigmented than it looked like it was going to be in the pan. And the shade Cafe Disco is truly just absolutely gorgeous. And also personally, gold lid colors, not my game. On the rest of the face, I am wearing the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Foundation in the shade F2. For concealer, I mixed together Pat McGrath L1 and L6. And then bronzer, I'm wearing Fenty Beauty Shady Biz. For blush, I've got on NARS Madly. And for highlight, I have Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter in Lit on my cheeks. I do this with this one. I find that if I can go a little ham with it, and it can almost like on this side, it kind of feels like it's starting to look like you see like there's a dark mark here. Like it looks a little bit too dark for me. This side isn't as bad. So just if you're my skin tone, go a little bit light-handed with that. And then for lips, I'm wearing literally my all-time favorite lipstick, which is ColourPop Lippy Stick in Grunge. This is just like my perfect nude. I mean, I know it's not like nude, but like it's my jam. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but my hair is still kind of wet. I diffused it, but after like 10 minutes of diffusing, I'm like over it. So this is what you're getting. It's probably still a little bit crunchy. I need to put some oil in it, but it is what it is. the looks, I absolutely do really like the palette. I find with the pressed pigments, it's better to pack them on and then blend. And just like in general, when you're working with brights, I find that's easier, but they're all pretty pigmented. I really like the white in here to kind of sheer out and make these colors different. I kind of think the orange in here is almost like too red based. Like, I wish this orange was more of like a yellowy orange, but at the same time, because you do have the yellow in here, you can kind of just like mix them together and make the orange you're looking for. So not the worst. When it comes to the packaging, I personally, like, I like how compact it is, but when I first saw the packaging, I knew I wasn't going to like the packaging. I'm a visual person and I like to see all of the colors that I can work with. If I'm gonna pick up a palette, I wanna see all of my options. So when you have like the neutral side, which doesn't have Cafe Disco in it, there's like, I would see this and be like, okay, what can I make out of this? As opposed to being like, oh, I also have this side. I kind of forget about what exactly is in the other side because I can't see it. That's just me personally. I don't like having to open two different sides. Like, I like the idea of it, but I think if you would have just, what you could have done is just killed the mirrors completely. Although I will say these are really nice mirrors. You could have killed the mirrors completely and had it just open up where it's like one palette here, one palette there. However, you would have some shadow mixing because as you can see, there's shadow marks here on the mirror, and that's, like, I've cleaned the mirror a bunch of times, but it's because the shadows are so softly pressed. You get a lot of kick up with these shadows, which I don't mind. I'm just bringing it up because people seem to care about that. Or I would have just liked a straight up flat palette. Like I know like we want it to be different here, but like personally, I like to see all of my shadows all together, but to each their own. I do think the color choices are beautiful. Like, there's so many options in the color section. It's kind of like every color you would need to make a look, and with the white you can really do so much with this side. Cafe Disco is by far my favorite shade in this entire palette, and I do love that it's more grungy browns than red tone browns because like I'm a grungy brown kind of girl. Like, I don't like warm tone browns like at all, but I do like these more grungy browns. This is the only color that I'm like, do we need her? Like, I think I would have rather had like a taupe in here than a grungy brown person, or than like this weird peach color, especially because like you could probably make something similar to this by mixing the pink and the white and the red in the other side of the palette. So I just think this shade is a little bit just kind of out of place because like, what are you gonna do with her? I don't know. But yeah, I think if it was like a taupey brown would have like, or like a gray brown would have solidified this palette. But yeah, I do like that it's lots of mattes and not shimmers because I do think that we all have so many fucking shimmers. However, I do think the shimmer, like the quality of the shimmer in this palette is really nice, and so I kind of would have liked to see maybe more shimmers, but I mean, mattes are what you make a look with and then you kind of add a shimmer on top. So overall, I think this palette is absolutely gorgeous. I really do love it. If you can get your hands on it, I would recommend it. I don't know how because they said it's limited edition, but we have been told so many palettes are limited edition, so it wouldn't surprise me if this did make a comeback once the pandemic's over and kind of once they get all of these palettes out again. That's just how brands operate. So overall, I love this palette. Let me know down below what your favorite look was that I created, or if there's any other ideas you have for looks to create. I do think that a palette, like in the colorful side, it can get a little bit overwhelming, and I kind of tend to stick with color families like pink and purple together, the green and the blue together, the oranges together, which is like, I know why that's why they're like in rows like that, but I like to mix colors, so I like doing like the red and the orange with the purple. I thought that look was gorgeous. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!